Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ajua and I hope this video finds you well. If you are new to this place, please consider subscribing. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support and welcome back. So a couple of days ago, I was trying to compile my top 10. I was going to make it a top 10 fruity list or realistic list. Then when I was putting the list together, I realized I could arrange them alphabetically. However, I reached some dead ends. I couldn't find some fruits which started with some alphabets. For example, the letter I. I still do not have any fruit that starts with the letter I, unless you tell me. So I was able to come up with some of them. Others, I had to improvise, but I really couldn't improvise. But these are the ones that I came up with. So I'm going to start off with A, and obviously it had to be apple. And when it comes to apple scented fragrances in my collection, I was able to come up with two, which I feel are very apple forward. And these are going to be Cassablanca by Swiss Arabian and then Dylan Blue by Versace. Dylan Blue by Versace is basically a Granny Smith apple fragrance with a soapy touch. It smells quite soapy, quite calming, quite balsamic. It doesn't come off as very sharp as compared to Cassablanca by Swiss Arabian. This, on the other hand, is quite sharp. It is quite loud and sharp as compared to Dylan Blue. Although they are both apple forward fragrances, they take slightly different direction. Dylan Blue being much more calmer with the soapy touches, whilst Cassablanca is much more of that, piercing, crisp Granny Smith apple. For the alphabet B, I was able to come up with two fragrances, and these are going to be Blueberry Max by Arabiyat and then Camuto Sud Pacifique Vanille Banane or Vanilla Banana. Vanille Banane is the only banana fragrance I have in my collection. It is quite a realistic one, mixed with like a very fluffy, creamy, marshmallowy, whipped cream scent. It is very gourmand, very realistic banana scent. It starts off as a very ripe, delicious banana scent, and as it begins to fade out, you get a green banana. On the other hand, Blueberry Max by Arabiyat is the most realistic blueberry scent I have currently in my collection. It is basically blueberry, musk, and vanilla. The musk and the vanilla are also quite balanced, so it gives prominence to the blueberry to shine. So if you want a realistic blueberry scent, check out Blueberry Max by Arabiyat. When I got to the alphabet C, it was an obvious choice for me to make, and this is going to be Last Cherry by Fragrance World. The cherry in this one is very realistic, quite boozy, just slightly boozy. Last Cherry is quite a straightforward fragrance. There isn't much intricacies to it. It is simple. It gives you a straight, realistic cherry liqueur note or nuance. That is what you entirely get throughout the life of the fragrance. So for a realistic cherry scent, it had to be Last Cherry by Fragrance World. When it came to the D, I could think about one fragrance and one fragrance only, and that is going to be Khamrah by Lattafa. It has the D, the dates. Dates are quite a staple fruit in a lot of Middle Eastern, cuisine. I've seen a lot of my Muslim friends, when it comes to Ramadan, they do a lot of dates with the fasting and breaking of the fast. I know a lot of people love dates. I personally am not a fan of dates. I just feel like it's too sweet and gooey, especially when it comes to the dried dates. I often see the dried dates being sold locally here in Ghana. I would love to try it for the most part, but the few times that I have tried it, I didn't really like it because it's too gooey, too sweet for my liking. However, I love it in Khamrah by Lattafa. So if you want a realistic, gooey, sweet, thick, rich, resonant date in a fragrance, it is going to be Khamrah by Lattafa. E is going to be a problem because I couldn't for the life of me find any fruit that starts with the notes or the alphabet E. I searched high and low, and the only fruit that came was eggplant. And I was super surprised by that because I have never thought about eggplants being fruit. I thought they were vegetables, eggplant being fruit. It was a first to me, honestly. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but I never knew eggplants were fruits. I thought they were vegetables, and even as vegetables, I do not like them. I see them being roasted and used in other, cuisines, but personally, I don't like eggplants. So if you know of any fruit that starts with the letter E, I will be glad to learn. Please put it in the comment section. I couldn't find any fruit for the letter E, so I'm just going to quietly skip that and move on to F. And for F, I was able to find fig. And for the fruit fig, it was only Liam Grey by Lattafa, which I feel is quite a realistic fig fruity fragrance. However, I think the black tea is the most dominant note when it comes to Liam Grey. And to me, the second most prominent note is going to be the fig in Liam Grey. It is very beautiful. It comes off as a bit green, a bit, woody, a bit juicy. Fig also comes off as a bit aquatic or watery to me. So if you want something quite realistic when it comes to fig, or you don't really know how a fig fragrance smells, I think Liam Grey is a good place to start. For the alphabet G, I'm going to go with guava. And for me, one of the most realistic guava scents I have ever come across is going to be Lattafa's Pink to Pink. This is a very delicious, not super mass appealing guava infused with lychee. But I think the guava takes prominence, although the lychee is also quite prominent. The guava to me is the most prominent, most realistic guava I have ever smelled in any fragrance. To my nose, Pink to Pink smells like a grilled guava with a hint of the lychee, and I think that smoky accord is what is giving people that gasoline vibes. I don't perceive it as gasoline per se. I see it much more of a smoky accord, like a smoky guava scent coupled with the lychee. That is what basically Adjoad Pink to Pink by Lattafa smells to me. So if you are looking for a realistic guava scent, I would say start from Adjoad Pink to Pink. For the alphabet H, hazelnut was the only fruit that came to mind that I could really, relate to. There were others that I looked up. I couldn't really relate to those fruits because I haven't come across those ones. But at least for hazelnut, I have come across that. And someone might argue that hazelnut is not a fruit, it's a nut. I think nuts and fruits are under the same umbrella. If I'm wrong, just please correct me. But for hazelnut, I'm going to go with a sample of a fragrance that I have here. I don't have it in full bottle, and I'm expecting to get a dupe of this fragrance quite soon. So hazelnut, I could find Guidance. This one is a very nutty, creamy hazelnut. Aside the rose that Amouage is known for, it also has this very creamy, almondy hazelnut, cacao-ish, slightly cacao-ish. It gives me a slight cocoa powder feel, and I think that is coming from the hazelnut. So if you want something that will, give you a resemblance of hazelnut or remind you of hazelnut, like a very thick, realistic one, I think you're going to get it from Guidance by Amouage. Another alphabet I couldn't find anything for, the letter I. If you know of it, please let me know because it doesn't seem to have any fruit. What fruit starts with the letter I? I'm yet to come across one, Sometimes you could get something like something orange, Indian orange, Indonesian tangerine. I'm not looking for those ones because it is still an orange or a tangerine, but I'm looking for a fruit which by itself starts with the letter I. I couldn't find any. If you know of any, please educate me. Luckily, I found a fruit that starts with the letter K, and K is going to stand for kumquat. And for that, I'm going to go with Junoon Noir by Haramain. I have personally not come across the fruit kumquat, but it was in Junoon Noir that I got to know or figure out how kumquat smells. It's supposed to be this citric, lime, piney, vibe or nuance, and that is what exactly I get from Junoon Noir by Haramain. It's quite prominent. It smells quite exotic. It doesn't come across as, the ordinary fruits we are used to. So for the alphabet of K, I was able to come up with kumquat, and for that, the fragrance is going to be Junoon Noir by Haramain. L was quite easy because I could think about lime, I could think about lemon, and I have a fragrance which have both. And this fragrance is going to be Vibrant Vertiver Delight by Paris Corner. It is a sweet, woody lime lemon combination. Very refreshing. Forget about the wood, the vetiver, It doesn't come across as earthy, mossy, green, woody. It is basically the lime and the lemon that take prominence when it comes to Vibrant Vetiver Delight. It is quite simplistic and likable, yet very memorable. So for L, I chose lime and lemon, and I could really get that in Vibrant Vetiver Delight by Paris Corner. For the alphabet M, I could get two fragrances, and these fragrances are going to be Brazilian Crush Cheirosa 71, which is for macadamia, M for macadamia, and this is a very realistic macadamia scent. Macadamia is also a nut, but it's still a fruit. Cheriosa 71 with the notes of macadamia smells like and feels like the nut or the fruit macadamia. It's very realistic. It's one of the most realistic fruits I have ever encountered. Very creamy, nutty, sweet. It feels like butter, If it had a texture, it will feel like butter on the verge of melting, butter that you have spread on bread and you have put in the microwave. That is a smell, that butter creamy quality. That is a smell that you get in Cheriosa 71 by Brazilian Crush. One of the easiest fragrances I could think of or I could add to this list had to be mango, and I have Mango Punch by Paris Corner. This is a very realistic mango scent. It feels like a cross between a sweet ripe mango and then a green and ripe mango. If you put those two together, that is when you get Mango Punch. It is quite sweet and quite also heavy on the max. But when you're looking for a realistic mango scent, I think this is one of the few that I have come across, in addition to Ajaib Dubai. But I didn't want to add Ajaib Dubai to the mango list because I feel it's quite spicy and woody as compared to Mango Punch, which is quite a realistic mango scent. It dries down quite, musky, quite of a green mango scent as opposed to how it starts when it's quite sweet and, more of a ripe mango. However, it's still a very realistic mango scent if you're looking for one. The alphabet N was also a tricky one, but I was able to come up with one. And this fragrance is going to be by Rosie Jane Leila Lou. Leila Lou is basically a nectarine, grass, and pear scent. And for N, I chose the fruit nectarine. Nectarine is a fruit which feels like a cross between plum and peach, very juicy, mouth-watering, very sweet. It feels very sweet. So for the letter N, I could come up with nectarine, and for the fragrance, it is Leila Lou by Rosie Jane. Another easy one for me to do was the letter O. For O, obviously, it had to be oranges. And one of my most realistic, zesty, fun, refreshing, lightweight orange fragrances I have in my collection is Not Stag Expression, the fourth by Paris Corner. If you are looking for a true essence of an orange fragrance, it definitely has to be Not Stag Expression. This one gives you, nothing else but oranges, very zesty, fun, refreshing, light, I like it for the fact that it is not a bitter orange. Bitter oranges, somehow come across as a bit masculine leaning to me. But when it comes to the Mandarin oranges, Sicilian oranges, they feel very unisex, almost, feminine leaning to me. And that is how I find Not Stag Expression. So for a realistic orange scent, I chose Not Stag Expression, the fourth. I could find in my collection 3 realistic fruity fragrances with the alphabet of P. So for P, I have Qaeed Fursan, which is pineapple. Qaeed Fursan is a very realistic grilled pineapple scent. It doesn't give you anything else apart from the smoke, very charred, grilled. But at the end of the day, it is nothing but pineapple. The second one is going to be Pear Potion by Paris Corner. As the name indicates, it gives you a straight, realistic, juicy, tart, very refreshing pear scent. That is what essentially Pear Potion is. It doesn't stray from being a pear fragrance. It is not combined with any other thing. It is not like half of this and half of that. It is just a straight up, juicy, tart, realistic pear scent. And the third one is going to be plum, and I love plums, and one of my most realistic plum is going to be Dolores by Fragrance World. It's a very juicy, not overly juicy, but still quite juicy, vanilla woody plum scent. Dolores is very sweet and delicious, but it doesn't come across as ultra sweet, like sickeningly sweet to me at all. It is a good one. So for the notes of P, which I was able to get 3, I could think about plum, I could think about pear, and then I could think about pineapple. So these are the 3 fragrances. For a fruit that starts with the alphabet Q, I had a bit of a struggle there because I really couldn't find anything. I think the only fragrance note I am familiar with, or fruit note that I'm familiar with, had to be Queens. And personally, I have not smelled the fruit Queens before. I wouldn't be able to tell what Queens smells like. However, I think I've come across quite a few fragrances that I have looked up which have the notes of Queens, which includes Chanel Utandra. I don't have Chanel Utandra in my collection, but I have a dupe of it called Fiori by Vince Camuto, and it doesn't have the notes of Queens. However, I can see what they mean by Queens. I know this one has grapefruit. I could only look up what Queens smells like, but I don't have an idea exactly how it smells like. But when I looked up, it looks to me like it smells like grapefruit, like grapefruit, but much more sour. That is how it came across to me. So I wouldn't say I know exactly how Queens smells, but I think Fiori by Vince Camuto gives me an idea of how, that Queen's fragrance smells like. For the alphabet R, it was quite easy for me because I could think of raspberry. And when it comes to raspberry, a realistic raspberry one, I can think about Alive Now by Maison Alhambra. I can even think about Lattafa's Maya. They are both very rich raspberry, intense, lychee sort of, combination. But I get a very pronounced note of raspberry in Alive Now by Alhambra and then Lattafa's Maya. So look no further if you're looking for a realistic raspberry scent. Alive Now is going to give you that. Maya is going to give you that. Even Musuf Wadi is going to give you that. They are both very intense, resonant, thick, syrupy raspberry scents, for the most part. For S, I could find only one fragrance that have strawberries in my collection. I could think about strawberries, I could think about star fruit, but I only have a fragrance that have strawberry, and that is going to be Lattafa's Yara. Aside Yara, I'm yet to come across any realistic strawberry intense fragrance. I think all the strawberry fragrances I have come across are, laced with something like Modesto. It has strawberry, but it has other berries and cherries, so I will not say it is necessarily a strawberry forward scented fragrance. But Yara, for example, I'll consider a strawberry forward fragrance, although it is not like intensely, strawberryish to me, I feel like it is quite watered down because of that creamy nuances it has, but it is still a realistic strawberry scent. For the alphabet T, only two fruits came to mind, which are going to be tamarind and then tangerine. And I chose to go with the easy route, and that is going to be tangerine. And the most realistic tangerine scent I have in my collection is going to be YSL Cinema. It says it has Algerian clementine, and clementine is basically tangerine, but Algerian clementine. This is a very simple, elegant, bright, citric, tangerine scent for the most part. It is very beautiful, not complicated at all. It gives a very refreshing tangerine vibes. It doesn't come across as tart. It doesn't come across as, those sharp tangerine, the one that bites through your mouth. It doesn't give me that. This one seemed like a ripe tangerine, but it's not tart at all. Very delicious, very citric, light, coupled with some vanilla, some very light, airy vanilla. It gives me a unique tangerine scent that I do not find in a lot of, citric fragrances. So YSL Cinema is going to be for T for tangerine. I couldn't for the life of me find anything with the letter U. Just tell me what starts with U, any fruits that starts with U. The ones that I looked up, I'm not familiar with any of them. They sound so exotic, way out of touch to me. I am yet to come across a fruit that starts with the letter U. If you know of one, kindly let me know. Followed by V. I also couldn't find anything for V. I could find something like velvet orange, vanilla apple. And those to me are not true essence of the alphabet V. So I couldn't find anything for V either. But for the alphabet W, there are quite a few. I don't have limpatrice in my collection, but I know it's a watermelon beige, watermelon kiwi. That's, watery, aquatic sort of, fruity vibe. Quite refreshing or very refreshing. Although I don't have limpatrice, I think it will fit in this category. I think I've also seen Batik by Paris Corner, which I have not come across. And a lot of people rave about it being a realistic watermelon scent, so I think that can also fit perfectly here. What I have when it comes to watermelon fragrance is going to be Bath & Body Works Watermelon Mojito. This is so delicious, simple, beautiful watermelon scent. But when it comes to actual fragrances, I don't have any that smells like watermelon. Please tell me you know about a fruit that starts with the letter X, because personally, I have no idea. I have searched high and low. I've seen some, Chinese fruits. I'm not familiar with them. I don't know how to pronounce them. All I know is I saw that they start with the letter X. Fortunately, I was able to come up with the Y, and for Y, we have yuzu. But personally, I did not have any fragrances with the note of yuzu. However, I have come across a great selection of fragrances with the note of yuzu, with Easy Miyake's Leau D'Issey being one. It's a woody citric note with an exotic touch to it. It doesn't smell like the ordinary citruses, the limes, the lemons that we are used to. I know it is a citric. I get that vibe from Leau D'Issey, and I believe a lot of us have in one way or the other come across the note of yuzu because of Leau D'Issey. It's quite a popular one, an old school one. And I believe a lot of us grew up with our fathers, our uncles, even our then boyfriends wearing that fragrance. I think if you have come across Leau D'Issey by Ismiyaki, then you have a fair idea how yuzu smells. And the last alphabet is going to be Z or Z, and I couldn't come up with anything. I have no idea. There's no fruit I'm familiar with that starts with the letter Z. I had to Google that. I called friends on that. I called family on that, but nobody seemed to have an idea on any fruits that starts with the letter Z. So that is going to be it for today, and I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate that, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye bye.